First off, he told me he has a fiance. I was hanging out with him as a friend, okay?
Here we go again. Boundaries.
I was with him because he was paying half my rent. You're gonna think this is really sad, but I liked him for a year, and he was also in a relationship.
Uh-oh. Starting to see a pattern here.
And I was never a homewrecker. I never was in there trying to talk to him or anything like that. I just used to be around, and you can say it was pathetic.
It's not pathetic, it's that you're shady. Let a woman speak long enough and she'll expose herself. This video is actually absolute insanity, but as a culture, we've just become immune to this type of behavior from women. We don't even bat an eye to it anymore. This is 32-year-old Bree. I'm the same age, similar life experience. The video is titled, When I Like Them, They Don't Like Me. We're going to pick apart the blind spots in this video. I'm gonna condense 31 minutes of womanese, woman logic, mental gymnastics, and just this flowery language to get to the bottom of who this woman is from the way she presents herself in this video. Let's get to it.
Instead of starting from the beginning, I'm gonna actually start from the now. I have an interest in somebody. This person is unavailable. They showed interest in me last year. I'm not gonna lie, it was in a very weird way, and I was not prepared. I was trying to hook them up with my friend, and out of the blue, they showed interest in me instead. And before I could think about whether or not I was interested or not, they had a girlfriend. I don't know. And then nobody else really came along to take my interest away from that person. Prior to that person, I liked someone else. This individual was Asian and told me that he was not interested in black women. And I was just like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about that. Prior to that, there was another person. I don't want to give too many details, honestly, because I don't know who's going to watch this. To be honest, I could honestly spill my guts right here in front of you. But something in the back of my brain is saying, hold back just a little. But I did like someone else. I'm just gonna say that they were a bartender. They were also coupled. I liked them for maybe a year, 2 years, between 1 and 2 years. And prior to that,
all right, the first two guys, I give you a pass. Not an issue there. But this last guy, the bartender, here's where the cracks begin to show and the flowery language begins. You couldn't say too much. You're not too comfortable about this one. He was coupled up, a bartender. So you were seeing a guy who had a girlfriend and you willingly participated in being the side piece. That's what I got out of this. So you weren't respecting yourself and you weren't respecting the boundaries of the relationship that was going on there. That's what I got out of this, but maybe I'm looking too into it.
that was that year where I liked nobody. And then prior to that, I don't know if I'm going to leave this in here because my mother, nobody in my family knows this, but I'm bi and I liked a girl. I like men 70%, women 30%. Most of my interest in women is physical. I've never dated a woman. Prior to that, I was in that relationship with the guy that I wasn't really interested in. I'm not going to lie, I didn't really like him like that. I liked that he was intelligent. He was very handsome, but the chemistry was just not there prior.
He was intelligent and he was handsome. What a combo. But the chemistry just wasn't there. The chemistry. AKA, he was boring. Okay, he was boring. Got it. Well, and then they want to say their standards aren't too high. Well, if you don't click, you don't click. But okay, intelligent and handsome. Probably stable too. But all right, you didn't match personalities. I'll give you the pass. Let's keep going.
Prior to that, I was in a relationship with someone who used to choke me and throw me around the room. I didn't really like him either. I was with him because he was paying half my rent.
You can't make this shit up. No way. So the guy was choking me and throwing me across the room, but hey, he was paying half my rent. What an extreme segue there. What a difference from the last guy to then this guy. So here's again the flowery language. If the guy was just assaulting you, throwing you, and just choking you, like what? He should be in jail right now. Was this during sex? Did you communicate with him that you didn't like this? Because I've had partners in the past, and I know friends and people like that that have women in their lives that they enjoy that. They like that. Some women get turned on by that kind of stuff. What was that conversation like? Did you even have the conversation with him that that's not something you like? I wish you could expand on that. Women swear that they're great at conversation. They're great at communication. Until you actually have to communicate. Then they're dead quiet. Then they stay quiet. They don't say a peep. They don't say their needs. They don't express themselves.
It's so funny. I don't even know if I'm going to get into it because I know a lot of people aren't into astrology. All I'm going to say is if you look up Venus in Virgo, that's me to a T. So having a partner who is financially stable is really important to me. It's actually
Bree, that's like 100% of people. You don't need astrology for that. Everybody wants someone that at the very least can take care of their own bills. Nobody wants to be with a liability. This is like bare minimum stuff. You do not need astrology for this. I guarantee you there's no astrology sign that's like, yeah, I actually prefer people that, are just brokies and can't pay for their stuff and, they're just going to leech onto me. Everybody would at least like to have someone that can pay their own way. Bare minimum. And if you're a man, women want a provider for the most part. So you don't need astrology for this, which, by the way, also a red flag.
actually a requirement. I think I could be with the most perfect person in the world, but if that fucker ain't got a job, you gotta go. And it's not even about me being taken care of. It's not about somebody spending money on me, but I can't be somebody's sugar mama. And in my most recent relationship, that's what happened. I made a video about that too, about the guy that I dated that was 7 years younger than me. And I said the biggest difference was not in our age, it was in our bank account. And that's because that's what's important to me. That's like a requirement. It's not even one of those things where it's like I can work around it. I can't be with someone who is draining resources from me because, bitch, it's hard enough for me to figure shit out for myself. I can't be figuring shit out for the both of us.
AKA being a man.
But yeah, so there was the guy that was choking me. Prior to him, I really liked this guy. I really thought he was great. He went to a school that was close to my house. I was like 24. You're gonna think this is really sad, but I liked him for a year, and he was also in a relationship. And
Uh-oh. Starting to see a pattern here. We do not respect boundaries.
I waited that shit out because that's how much I liked him. I waited it out because I thought that he was worth it. He also approached me very weird. I didn't know what was going on. I'm gonna say this because it's happened a few times where a guy will approach me in a way without verbalizing what's going on, and I'm too afraid to say something because I don't want to scare him off. But I end up scaring him off because I'm acting weird because he's acting weird. That's happened a couple of times. So in this situation, I liked that guy. I was really only interested in him. He was always with his girlfriend and very much like a good man and stuff. And I was never a homewrecker. I never was in there trying to talk to him or anything like that. I just used to be around, and you can say it was pathetic.
It's not pathetic. It's that you're shady. You're there kind of plotting. You're just around. Again, the flowery language. I just used to be around. This is the reason why men don't want women, their women, to have male guy friends. Because they're orbiters. They're waiting around.
Because it was, but I used to just be around, and in my mind I was like, I'm just gonna be here, and I'm gonna be cool, and I'm gonna be clearly a fucking pick me, because what the fuck else could I have been doing? That's not the first time that happened.
What do you mean a pick me? You're not a pick me. You're a shady person that's plotting, low-key plotting. You're there hanging around just waiting to see if anything is gonna develop. What's going to happen here? You're putting yourself in the vicinity there so that something can happen.
Either. That's not the last time that happened either. But I said I was going to make a video about being a pick-me because I did it a lot. I did it a whole lot. Anyway, but
a pick-me isn't going after men that are already taken. That's not what a pick-me is. Now, we've put this negative connotation on pick-me and this and that, but Since when does a pick-me go after men who were already taken? Respect boundaries.
But yeah, so I was just around and
There it is again. I was just around. What does that mean?
what ended up happening was one day he just started messaging me and contacting me out of the blue, wanting to hang out. And
Out of the blue. You've been around. You've been around and around, and you've just been around. Uh-huh.
like coming over and we would hang out and I didn't know what was going on. I was like,
Coming over and messaging me and hanging out, and I just didn't know what was going on, and then one thing led to the next, and then his dick was inside of me. This is how it happens. Then women can wash their hands and take no accountability and say, hey, it wasn't me. Wasn't my fault. I don't even know what happened. Man, you're shady. You're being shady. You're now starting to show a pattern of being a shady person over here. You have to respect boundaries, and you have to respect yourself. You can't be just doing this and like, I don't know what's going on. What? Out of the blue? Oh, you know what's up. You've been waiting.
did he break up with his girlfriend? I was like, what if him and his girlfriend aren't broken up, but they're like in a weird place? Or what if they're on a break? And I was so afraid to say anything to him.
You're always so afraid to say anything. I'm always so afraid to say anything. You gotta ask him, right? Again, women's communication skills, overrated. Overrated. When it comes down to it, they don't speak up. They don't say things. They entertain the goofy shit. They're always out there entertaining the goofy shit, trying not to seem guilty, trying to play victim, trying to play the good person. Yeah, these are conversations you needed to have. You know this too deep down. You just didn't want the answer. You didn't want the answer. You don't want to be the bad guy.
Him because I thought that he was just not, I don't know. But I didn't.
Nah, yeah, it was just, I don't know. I don't know. No, you know, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. This is the thing. People want to play dumb.
Say anything. What ended up happening was because we never talked about what we were, we ended up going to a party together. I danced with another guy at that party, and this guy that I had waited for a year for never talked to me again. And that's exactly what happened.
You waited for that guy for a year. Whether you had sex, didn't have sex, irrelevant. You're doing weirdo shit. You're moving around goofy. Not the right way to go about things.
To that, I had a crush on a guy for a very long time, for 10 years. I dated other guys in that span. I was a pick-me for another guy. So pretty much that's a lot of my background and what happened. So you might be wondering, how did that turn into me being single for 4 years? Does that mean like I wasn't going on dates or I wasn't active on the apps? So 2 of those years are kind of hard for me to count because I had COVID. So 2 things happened when I had COVID. First off, I gained a lot of weight from being sick. So currently I am 30 pounds down from the highest weight that I was when I had COVID. So I've lost a lot of weight. I'm gonna tell you right now, that did not matter. I've been heavier than that. I'm not saying it's not a factor. I personally have never experienced weight be a factor in attraction for me and another person. And I've been 170.
Maybe not for you, but yeah, weight is definitely going to be a factor. It just is.
25 pounds at my highest, and I've been 130 pounds at my lowest, and I've never seen it be an issue ever. Not to say that's not the case for other people. So my experience in real life is colored by a lot of things, because really what ultimately ended up happening was the type of guys that I used to be attracted to when I was younger started becoming attracted to me as I got older because I had grown into myself. Unfortunately, these men had not. I had done the work to grow as a person, and the men had not. But the guys that I used to be attracted to, I kind of realized sucked. I wasn't able to have robust conversations with them. I didn't have any chemistry with them. And
there's that word again, chemistry. This aloof of a word, chemistry. All right, boring.
I think it's funny because a lot of the reason why I grew so much as a person was not because I wanted to. I'm going to tell you something about me. I really like that a lot of people really seem to like my personality and they think that I'm very relatable. And I'm going to tell you this, bitch. It's not because I wanted to be. It's because I had to be. If you saw my videos before, you would know that I was very lonely. I had no friends. And now you know that I was unchosen. I was not chosen by anyone. I'm just gonna say it was like this. When I liked them, they didn't like me. When they liked me, I didn't like them. And it's just as simple as that. I'm trying to like preemptively respond to things that I know I'm gonna get in the comments. Like people are gonna say your standards must be too high, or there must be something wrong with you, or you must be lying or something.
You do have high standards. The math is mathing. If you go 4 years single, not by choice, and you're out there, the only possible explanation for this is that you're not putting yourself out there enough. You're just not talking to people. But that's not true because you're going on the apps and you're doing all this other stuff, so I don't believe that. But that's the only plausible explanation here, right? Because you're not ugly. So what's going on here?
Something like that. My standards are average for what they probably should be. For a long time, I thought my standards were too high. And you know why I thought my standards were too high? Because I have to feel attraction for someone in order for me to want to date them. And
Bree, you're 32 years old. Did you just figure out that you should probably only date people you're actually attracted to? Holy shit. Guys, we're cooked as a society. We're cooked. This is why half of all women are going to be single by 2030. We are cooked.
Because I was a narcissist, I thought that every person that
Well, that explains a lot. Hey, you don't often hear everyday woman calling herself a narcissist, so I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate the self-awareness.
I was attracted to, also I used to be a narcissist. I thought that every person I was attracted to was the most beautiful thing walking when I was interested in them. Looking back on some of those people now, first of all, my friends were quick to tell me they were quick to say that, and I would be like, haters. But looking back on some of them, they're average looking men. I thought that I was shooting for the moon when really, I think I was within my range. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. But that's why for a long time, I did think I was shallow. My standards now have definitely shifted, and they haven't shifted in a linear way. It's more like the different sliders have changed. Like I'm much more flexible on certain things and much more rigid on other things. That's how things have happened. In terms of dating, the last date I went on that I knew was definitely a date was 4 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic. It was a guy from my job, and he took a picture of me while we were at the table without asking for my permission. And the only way I knew that is because he left the flash on, but he had the camera sitting like this, and I could tell. I don't think I was supposed to know. I think it was a black girl fetish. He was white, and he definitely told me a lot of times that he was not usually attracted to black women, but somehow, for some reason, he was attracted to me. I don't know how I felt about that. I don't want to be the first black girl some non-black person's ever dated. I also don't want to...
Why? What does that have to do with anything?
Date someone who has only dated black women if they're non-black. That definitely gives me the creeps. However, that was the last date that I had been on.
I wish you could expand on that. Like, I honestly don't know why.
Why did it not work out? It didn't work out for a couple of reasons. Namely, I ended up getting sick with COVID. He says that I ghosted him. I don't remember it that way. I remember really liking him and not feeling that reciprocal energy from him back. I don't know. But that was the last person that I dated that I knew that I dated. I guess I technically had a date last year. I'm trying to think of what I consider dates, because there are a lot of dates that...
Here we go with the flowery language again. I'm trying to think of what I consider dates, because holy shit, this is how you get into trouble. This is the type of girl that you don't want in your life as your girlfriend, because this language can be bent and screwed and chopped into different ways here. So it's like, oh, it wasn't a date. It was just a date.
I don't really consider a date. What's a date? Because I technically had a date 2 nights ago, if I'm considering anytime somebody asks me out a date. But
Yes, ma'am, it's a date. Yes.
I didn't really consider it a date. And I told the person that I was with, I was like, because I knew the people who worked at the bar that we went to. And I was like, they're going to think we're on a date. And he was like, And he didn't say anything. And I wasn't trying to fish for, is this a date? I didn't consider it a date because, first off, he told me he has a fiance. I was hanging out with him as a friend, okay?
Here we go again. Boundaries. I was hanging out with him as a friend. Perception is reality. What is the magic rule? Treat others the way that you would like to be treated. If you had a partner, if you had a man, and he was going out to a bar with another woman, and that man is your fiance, how would you feel? Would you be okay with that? Oh, it's just a friend. It's just a friend. Come on now, man. It's this little flowery language and the way they run around the accountability to wash their hands so that they're not at fault here. It drives a man crazy.
As a neighbor, because he's one of my neighbors, but he ended up saying some things that made me think that maybe he thought it was a date or would have been okay with it being a date, and it made me feel weird.
Why were you okay with it? You have a serious issue with boundaries. You don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, are you dumb? You have to put 2 and 2 together here. You're going to go out with a man who has a fiance. What are you doing in that situation? Can you not see how it seems weird off rip? I don't care what the excuse is. You're putting yourself in a bad light. You're being shady. And this isn't a one-off now. You've given already several scenarios where you don't look good. You're always putting yourself in a negative light. You're attracting bad attention, things to happen to you so that later you can go like, I had no idea. How did this possibly happen? Not good. You have to respect yourself and you have to respect boundaries. Something like that happens. You go, hey, I'd love to go out with you and your fiance. Or, hey, I don't think your fiance would appreciate that. Or, hey, what is this? Again, you're not communicating. You're not asking questions. You're making a bunch of assumptions. And then you want to act all surprised. Like, what's going on?
However, the last time I went out with someone solo, and it was like most likely a date because they were definitively single, probably was that guy.
Most likely a date because they were definitively single. Holy shit, is that a sentence? You see what I mean? Nobody respects people's relationships anymore. People just assume they do whatever. They go, not my problem. Crazy.
Guy that I was talking about earlier
And then, I'm sorry I had to pause again. God forbid you do something like that to this type of woman. God forbid you do that type of shit to this type of woman. She'll hold it over your head like this. But somehow when they do it, they don't see the error in their ways. They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. Nope, not me. So weird. People are going to think this is a date. Yeah, because it's a date. Because it's a date. Do they have to write it on the wall for you, Brie? Every single time? It's a date. You know what you're getting yourself involved in. Stop playing.
I was trying to hook up with my friend that I said was weird because I was trying to hook him up with my friend, and then it was like he showed interest in me and I wasn't prepared for it. And in fact, I didn't think he was serious because he messaged me after we had all went out as a group, and I just thought he was drunk, and I was just like, this guy. But then he messaged me again a couple days later, and I was really uncomfortable with it because my friend had liked him, but then when I told her he had messaged me when he was drunk, she was really mad. And so she was like out of town, and I didn't really know. I was like, what is my obligation as a friend if a guy that my friend did not date but liked, had interest in, but they didn't date? I don't know. I felt weird about it.
This is the mental gymnastics people will do. This is it. Brie, how would you like to be treated? You wouldn't want a friend to do that to you if you like the person, right? So why would you do that to them? We live in a planet with 8 billion people. Half of them are men. Find another one. But here we go. We start playing the mental gymnastics in our head to justify our own reasons and stupidity. So we can say, I'm good. I'm the good guy here. Not my problem. I'm okay. He messaged me. I was uncomfortable. with the whole thing. But yeah, now I'm going to go see him.
But then when we were on the date, the guy got like super
So you went on the date.
drunk. Like, I don't even think he remembered any of the date. That's how drunk he got. But I was willing to overlook that. I still felt weird about my friend liking him because I hadn't gotten her sign off on it. I didn't.
You should feel weird. You should feel weird. I wouldn't want to have you as a friend. You're always going to be there plotting. You'll wait a year for somebody in the background and you'll just hang around. I'll just be around. I'm just around. Uh-oh, he messaged me. What could be going on? Yeah, you're not a good friend. You're like very shady behavior. You need to tap into that. That thing is killer. No man wants to deal with that.
I didn't even tell her that we had went out again. I felt really uncomfortable with it, but I was like, if he's serious, then we can talk about it. Maybe he just got really drunk because he was nervous. He said he didn't drink that often, like before we even went out. We had 2 gin and tonics, bitch. So clearly he doesn't drink that often. So I was willing to overlook it. He didn't touch me inappropriately or try anything weird with me. So I was willing to give it another shot, but he stopped talking to me forever after that. So I don't know. Maybe he felt, maybe he didn't like the way I handled it, or maybe he just didn't like me, which is what this video is about people not liking me. And
you don't communicate. When you need to communicate, you don't. This would have been another time to go ahead and communicate with your friend and express how you feel, get over it. Either don't talk to the guy because she feels really bad about it, or if you are going to go ahead and move forward with the guy, which I don't suggest, but hey, do your own thing, go talk to her. Make sure you guys are on the same page. She's your friend, right? You owe her at least that. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. I'm sure you would like to know. That's why you keep feeling uncomfortable and uncomfortable and uncomfortable, because you're in the wrong. You're being a shitty person. That's it. None of us are perfect. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. But you need to acknowledge this. You need to be aware of this, because if not, you're going to let this behavior continue on, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Until one day, someone checks you, and then you're going to take that person for granted because they're going to leave your life, and it could have been the person that you really wanted to spend time with and spend the rest of your life with. You got to check that behavior.
But number one, guys that I'm attracted to, why am I holding up my pinky? Number one, guys that I'm attracted to just out in the wild are not attracted to me. If they are, they're not coming up and approaching me. This is where the problem comes in, because on apps, I do not stand out. I'm aware, and it's fine. It's just the unfortunate circumstance. A picture that I posted on my IG a few days ago says something like, I hate being pretty in the mirror, but not pretty in pictures. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I am. In pictures, I look like a basic bitch. I don't stand out, and I'm aware. And it could be a situation where maybe I just gotta learn my angles. I got chubby cheeks, and chubby cheeks just don't photograph well. In cameras, it's all about the bone structure. That's why everybody's getting the fat taken out of their face with the buccal fat removal thing, because they want to look camera pretty. And I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to look real life pretty, okay? First of all, I like my cheeks. I think they're fine. I'm aware that they're chubby, okay? We can't all have super defined cheekbones, okay? First of all, if I didn't have no cheeks, where my dimples gonna go? Where are they gonna go?
I mean, I can't see your full body here, but you're not ugly. You're not a bombshell either where I'm gonna break neck and stare at, or I'm gonna go out on my way to go approach, but you're not ugly. It's not a physical thing. I can't see your body, but just looking at your face, you're definitely not ugly. Not to be having this kind of issues with finding a man that you're attracted to. So it is with your standards that this whole problem is going on with, as well as you probably not being out there enough, not putting yourself out there enough. And then you got to look at your personality and the way you're dealing with people, because you're getting fired from jobs, and the way you're moving in between people when it comes to your friends and guys that already have relationships or whatever. Not cool. Not cool. You got to check that.
When I think about my long-term plans, they have a partner in them. I'm not trying to be one of these single bitches out here that's single for the rest of their life. I have no interest in that. I have a gut instinct that I am meant to find someone. And the reason why I said this video would make some people mad is because I'm sure somebody listened to this video and they probably heard someone who was picky and is probably just not accepting of dating experiences. That's not it. This is when I
Yeah, that's not it though. You know, everybody's picky nowadays. Everybody has these standards, this, that, and the third, and you know, to each their own. But that's not even why I'm mad in particular here. The reason why people could get upset here, valid, is because you're kind of playing that homewrecker role. You're in this little shady area in a lot of situationships, relationships, the people you deal with, how you move around your friends and you don't tell them things. It's those types of things where then we go and wonder, why do people hate me? Why am I getting fired? What, this, that, the third. Your communication skills suck. Yes, you can communicate in front of a camera on YouTube to nobody, and you can express the things that you want to talk about. But when something's uncomfortable to you, you freeze up. You don't know what to say. You're non-confrontational. You can't get it out of you. When pressure is applied and you have to be a good person, you're not a good person. That's it.